Okay, so this week we're digging into an analysis on Bangladesh, potentially seeking full SCO membership, looking at the geopolitical hurdles and the strategic side of things.
It's a solid piece of work, definitely. But we think we can make it even sharper, especially around the narrative thrust right at the start.
Yeah, I agree. So the first thing that jumps out is how the piece handles the Sino-Indian dynamic. It's there, but maybe not quite central enough.
Exactly. The central strategic paradox driving Bangladesh's SEO bid really needs to be foregrounded. It should be the main engine of the narrative to give it maximum impact.
Right. So the weakness, as we see it, is that while the contradiction is identified, Bangladesh getting closer to China actually causes India's resistance, it feels like it's presented as a consequence or just one factor among many.
Rather than the fundamental structural tension defining the whole situation.
So the suggestion is to really refocus the material. Lead with that paradox. Make the Sino-Indian proxy issue, let's call it, the absolute core thesis.
Yeah, that elevates it. It goes from being a list of pros and cons to a unified strategic evaluation.
And concretely, you could frame the whole piece around a statement like, the better Bangladesh's ties with SCO members like China get, the harder India pushes back against full membership.
Right. Show, for example, how Chinese funding for, say, the Karnafuli Tunnel or maybe the Sonadia port development, that very support directly fuels India's veto power because of New Delhi's encirclement fears.
That inherent conflict, that's where the real narrative tension lies. Okay, let's pivot to the second point. This deals with Bangladesh's own foreign policy stance.
Yes, the idea of strategic equilibrium.
The assessment of that policy needs to be more rigorously stress-tested against what SCO membership actually entails, ideologically and in terms of security commitments.
Yeah, the piece does note that joining fully could compromise Bangladesh's non-aligned tradition. That's clear.
But the weakness is it doesn't quite dig into the mechanisms. How would the SCO actually enforce alignment? It feels like the political cost of joining might be underestimated because we don't see how that pressure is applied institutionally.
Right. It's not just that non-alignment is at risk, but precisely how the SCO framework makes it difficult to maintain.
So the suggestion is to go deeper. Evaluate how Dhaka could realistically reconcile its friendship with all, enmity with none approach with the SCO's, its pretty explicit anti-Western consensus.
And its promotion of non-interference norms, too, which are often, aimed at keeping external powers out.
You need to show that potential clash in action. For instance, if Bangladesh gets access to SCO security benefits, like the RAT's counterterrorism structure, maybe training, what policy shifts does it implicitly have to accept?
Exactly. Think about the SCO's ideological positions. Opposition to color revolutions, pushing back against perceived U.S. dominance. How does Dhaka navigate that?
You could explore concrete examples. How would taking an SCO line on sensitive issues, Xinjiang, maybe Taiwan, or Russia's actions in Ukraine, how would that directly impact vital relationships with the U.S. and the EU?
Because those are critical partners for trade, for remittances. That makes the potential cost of ideological alignment very tangible, very real.
So just to recap the two main suggestions here.
First, really center the narrative on that core paradox, China's support fueling India's opposition. Make that the spine of the analysis.
And second, critically stress-test Bangladesh's non-aligned doctrine. Show the specific ways SCO membership could force difficult choices and potentially compromise that strategic equilibrium.
Yeah, zero in on the tangible costs of ideological alignment within the SCO framework.